there's a headline here from Talking Points memo, and it says, shock poll, pro-Obamacare states see bigger drop in uninsured rate. And I imagine that they're being ironic because, of course, this poll seems obvious. So I think they are. But it is not. It turns out that states that have embraced Obamacare are having fewer uninsured people than states that aren't either expanding Medicare or joining the exchanges. So the states that are doing both, that are participating fully in the two most important options of Obamacare, have actually seen a significant decline in the number of uninsured people in 6 months, as opposed to the states that aren't participating. So it is, in fact, no big shocker.
Yeah, it's weird that it turns out that if you try to get insurance for people, they will get it.
Yeah.
And if you say, hey, you know what, we don't want you to have insurance, so we're not going to expand Medicaid so that you can have it, then you get it less.
It turns out that people who are poor or middle income care about keeping themselves and mostly their children healthy at exactly the same rates as people who either can afford nice insurance or have it through their jobs. I didn't know that. Huh. That is interesting news to me.
So let's give the numbers, and then I want to discuss the Republican issues here, right?
Yeah. So here's first a quote from the article. This is from Gallup's findings. This is what Gallup has to say. The states that have implemented two of the law's core mechanisms are realizing a rate of decline substantially greater than what is found among the remaining states that have not done so. Consequently, this is the important part, the gap that previously existed between the two groups has now expanded. No surprise at all. So let's take a quick look. States that have expanded Medicaid, and again, we've shortened it, that's states that have expanded Medicaid and are participating in the exchanges. The rate of uninsured has dropped 2.5 points. That's from 16.1 to 13.6, so under 14%. And then the other number we have, the states that have not participated in the exchanges, they have had a nice drop too, but it's only 0.8, and they are left at 17.9%, a pretty big difference from the states that are participating. And then this national figure we'll take a look at here, uninsured since October of 2013, this is overall 18%. Today it's 15.6%, nearly a 2.5 point drop.
Okay, so two ramifications of this. First of all, if you live in a red state, you're far more likely to be uninsured. And so that was the case actually even before the Affordable Care Act, because they take a number of different policy actions that show that they don't really care. That's not an issue, that's not a concern for them, it's not a priority for them. And so that winds up having a result. I mean, at this point, as we stand today, if you live in the states that are mainly obviously blue states that applied Affordable Care Act and increased Medicaid, you're at 13.6% uninsured. If you're in the red states that didn't do that, expanding Medicaid, 17.9. That's a big difference between 13.6 and 17.9. I mean, we're talking, what is that? That's about over 4 points, and if you're at 13, that's almost a quarter right there.
And that number is just gonna get greater. It's gotten greater in 6 months. It will continue to expand that difference, which is now at 4 points. It'll be 5, it'll be 6, it'll be 7.
So you're, in essence, about 25% more likely to be uninsured if you live in a red state. So at some point, this is going to have even bigger results on a macro level, where people start thinking, why don't I go to a state where I can get insurance?
Right, because the difference between 18% and 13%, and I'm rounding them off, is that's 5 percentage points. That's tens of thousands of people.
That's right.
Thousands and thousands of people and thousands of children, people who don't have insurance, Americans who don't have insurance.
And then so point number two is, think about what the Republicans are saying. So they hate Obamacare, they want to repeal it, right? They say replace, but they literally have nothing to replace it with. And that's an issue for them now, because even some conservatives are saying, oh, come on, guys, we got to replace it with something, don't we? And the answer generally from Boehner and Cantor is, no, not really, right? What they're saying is, we don't really mind if you're uninsured.
That's right.
Like, we think that it might actually increase our rates. That's why we don't care if you're uninsured. Now, in reality, we already know that the Affordable Care Act actually decreases deficit. So actually, it's less money out of your pocket when you consider the whole package. But even if I were to grant you that it was more money out of your pocket, you'd at least have to grant that, yeah, I don't give a damn that about 18% of the people in my state are uninsured. I don't care. I have no plan to fix it. And I'm fighting tooth and nail the thing that does fix it.
JR brought this to our attention. It's the story you just talked about, that top conservatives in the House are saying, hey, remember when you said that we were going to reform and replace, that we'd have a bill before we took the 9th break of this session? And before they go away now, they want to know we're going to be able to vote on it before we leave in July to campaign. Conservatives like Steve Scalise, he's from Louisiana, and he's chairman of the Republican Study Committee. They're pushing for a vote by the time that July set, before they leave town for 5 weeks again to campaign. That those are in primaries and before the summer. So, but there is no vote, there is no plan, and the leadership, Eric Cantor, who pledged it, and John Boehner, they're like, well, we don't know. Like, you think they're working on a plan? Does anybody think? Like, so one thing, the latest tack that Republicans have taken, and Joe Scarborough, who occasionally shows himself to be a moderately reasonable person, and then on issues like Obamacare, he just backs away. Everybody chimed in. Everybody was agreeing this morning on Morning Joe, suggesting that these latest Obamacare figures are cooked because of the change in the census that occurred in 2013, the way the health care questions on the census were asked. And while Paul Krugman, who wrote a nice piece this morning, does suggest that, hey, the timing of changing those questions, it was probably not a great idea politically. Guys like Joe Scarborough, they don't understand the census, they don't understand the statistics, they don't understand how that numbers work at all. What they are just saying is this is their 19th straight attack against those numbers. And they're hoping that this one lands, and there's absolutely no reason to believe them then or now. So here's the thing that Krugman said, I think it's worth bringing up, and I just read it. It's quite vile to have talk show hosts who quite literally know nothing about the field, other than that they're against covering the uninsured, casually accusing the census of cooking the books to support Obamacare. And I just love it when people other than you are saying this. Like, they don't want to cover them. They don't want to cover them, and that's what this is about.
So a couple of things there. First of all, when reality is inconvenient, you just say, I don't believe reality.
I don't believe reality.
Now, if they had really cooked the census books, did they really cook them so that the blue states had their uninsured numbers go down, but the red states also went down, but not quite as much? So you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If they cooked them, it would have affected all the states equally. But the results are not equal. The ones that actually expanded Medicaid had the uninsured number go down much further. So that is a bizarre way of cooking through the census that seems, well, impossible.
Also, what part of the, I don't know what I assume the numbers are essentially exactly right, or just as likely to be undersold as oversold. But when you offer people a chance to get health care who didn't have health care, you don't think they're going to take it?
Of course they are. And so that goes to the overall point. They don't have a plan because they don't care. And I want mainly the media to stop beating around the bush and to, like, as if the Republicans have an alternative plan. Look, and by the way, to the credit of actually the most conservative Republicans, as Ben pointed out, the Republican Study Group is actually the most right-wing group there is. They're actually being honest and principled here and telling the Republican leadership, hey, we said we were going to have a replacement. Where the hell is it? And Boehner says, we're trying to build a consensus over what an alternative would look like. In other words, we ain't got no alternative. We're building consensus. In other words, we're going to just punt and
we
punt.
Can't. I don't blame John Boehner.
That's right.
They can't. They don't have support to reform health care.
What Boehner is saying to those true conservatives is, hey, listen, guys, we know better than you. We know that if we put out your plan, it's going to get ripped apart by the media because it makes no sense.
Right.
Because in the end, we don't insure them.
Right.
Okay, well, that's not what we do. We don't give a damn about that. Our plan isn't going to work. You're still going to have 30 million, 50 million people uninsured. The rates are going to continue to rise because we get paid by the guys who profit off of the rising rates. Our plan sucks. That's why we're not putting it out. And I want the media to at least acknowledge that the Republican priorities are not to cover people that are not uninsured. It's very simple and very plain, and at this point, inarguable.